Have you ever felt that invisible clock ticking, that kind of pervasive whisper, maybe even someone saying outright, "You're running out of time to have children"?
Oh, absolutely.
Whether it's, a doctor, maybe your boss, family, or just scrolling online, right?
Hmm.
That statement can bring up this really profound, immediate anxiety.
Hmm.
It's such a common pressure, but it feels incredibly personal.
It does.
So today we're going to take a deep dive into exactly that question. Why are we experiencing fertility anxiety?
Yeah.
And this isn't just about the individual choice, to bear or not to bear, is it?
Not at all. It's tied into these much larger societal forces, economic ones, even philosophical questions that are shaping these really intimate decisions.
Right.
And that's really our mission here in this deep dive. We'll be looking at thinkers like sociologists Ueno Chizuko, the philosopher Simone de Beauvoir.
Classic.
Exactly. And even dipping into existentialist philosophy. Because our sources suggest this anxiety, it's less about some personal failing, or feeling incomplete. It's more a symptom of these very modern predicaments we find ourselves in.
Hmm.
And we'll definitely explore why this anxiety often falls so heavily on women and what that really means for freedom, for self-determination.
So the goal is to give you, the listener, a clearer handle on these forces.
Precisely. Understand the forces shaping these decisions, and hopefully empower your own perspective on what is, let's face it, a massive life choice.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Starting with the structural roots, maybe. You mentioned Ueno Chizuko's work, Tokyo Poor Women.
Yes, it's incredibly powerful.
She argues something pretty critical, doesn't she? That poor women are not failures, but products of social structures.
Exactly. That really sets the stage. It helps us see how something that feels so deeply individual, this struggle, is often actually systemic.
Right. So how does she connect that specifically to fertility?
Well, Ueno explains how women's poverty is often really tightly linked to marriage, family, childbearing, but not as a source of security.
Oh, okay. More like a risk.
Often, yes, a significant risk, sometimes trapping women. She gives this specific example from Japan, older single women facing poverty
Aye.
because of these deep-seated gender divisions in labor and just a real lack of social support. So for many women, deciding to have kids isn't just, oh, I'd like a baby.
It's more complex.
It becomes a kind of survival strategy, all tangled up with economic independence, social safety nets, or the lack of them.
So the core anxiety she points to
Yes,
is,
that childbearing may exacerbate poverty and dependence rather than bringing stability. That's the fear.
wow, and that idea of society shaping roles.
Yeah.
It leads us straight to Simone de Beauvoir, doesn't it? Her famous line from The Second Sex.
Woman is not born but made. Absolutely. Still resonates so strongly today.
It really does.
Beauvoir just meticulously show how patriarchal societies historically kind of sculpt women into these roles. Wife, mother, primarily those.
Rather than independent individuals.
Exactly, not as independent subjects. And
Yeah.
childbearing, within that framework, it often gets loaded with this moral, almost obligatory tone.
Making women feel incomplete if they don't have kids.
Precisely, like they're somehow less than whatever else they might achieve. Beauvoir's big call was for women to break free from being just the other, defined only relative to men, and reclaim their own subjectivity.
Which leads to a modern dilemma,
A
right?
huge one. Society still maybe implicitly expects motherhood, but at the same time, our modern lives, careers, personal freedom, self-realization, they demand we reject that as the only path.
That tension must create anxiety.
A profound anxiety, yes, about, how do I live out my own subjectivity beyond these assigned roles? It's a real struggle.
So, okay, we have these deep roots, societal, philosophical. How does this actually play out today? What are the immediate pressures? You mentioned triple pressures.
Yes, these are the things hitting us day to day. They're really potent. First, there's the body and time pressure.
The biological clock.
Right. And the medical community often labels advanced maternal age in ways that create huge anxiety, sometimes placing more weight on age itself than, say, underlying health conditions.
Which might actually be more critical.
Often,
Yeah.
yes. And while things like egg freezing offer choices, they also come with big costs, economic, physical.
And emotional, I imagine.
Definitely. Plus, the success rates aren't always guaranteed, and there's a psychological toll.
So the medical side adds pressure. What about work? Does the workplace pile on too?
Oh, for sure. That's the second pressure, career and economic pressure. Sadly, the workplace often seems to punish childbearing.
How so?
Well, we see it all the time, right? Stalled promotions, maybe reduced income, women feeling sidelined after maternity leave.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's just the sheer cost of raising kids today. It's enormous. Having a child can easily become this amplifier of middle-class anxiety.
Trying to keep up, provide opportunity.
Exactly. It's not just the basics anymore.
Okay, so body, time, career, economics. What's the third pressure?
The third is social and cultural pressure. And this one is particularly, well, tricky.
How do you mean?
It says paradox. Women get labeled selfish if they don't have kids. But then, if they do, they can be judged as unqualified or not good enough mothers. It's like you can't win.
That sounds exhausting.
It is. Women are constantly sort of oscillating between this prescribed mother role and their own individual self, often because there just isn't enough real social support to help bridge that gap.
And looking globally, these pressures manifest differently, don't they? The sources gave examples.
They really do, and it highlights how systemic this is. Take Japan. Great education, safe society, but the pressure on mothers is so intense.
That women opt out.
Many choose not to marry or have kids at all. It's a direct result of a very gendered system lacking support.
Okay, what about somewhere like China?
China has strong education resources, yeah, but there's this tendency towards what's called chicken parenting.
Chicken tearing.
Yeah, it's this incredibly intense competitive upbringing. It just fuels anxiety for parents, pushes them really hard.
In the U.S.
The U.S. puts a big emphasis on personal freedom, which is great in theory, but it often comes with really insufficient social support for families.
So individuals carry the load.
Pretty much. And then you contrast that with, say, the Nordic countries.
Right. They always come up in these discussions.
Because they have robust welfare systems, much lower childcare costs. And guess what? Less anxiety around childbearing generally correlates with that.
So these examples really drive home the point.
Absolutely. It underscores that this fertility anxiety, it's not some personal flaw. It's not just women overthinking.
It's environmental, systemic.
Exactly. Women are often put in positions where they're actually afraid to have children or simply unable to have them logistically or financially,
Right.
rather than just not wanting them.
Okay, so we've covered the practical stuff, the societal pressures.
Yeah.
But you mentioned an existential layer too.
Yes, and this is where things get quite deep, thinking about meaning itself.
How does existentialism connect to having babies?
Well, think about thinkers like Sartre or Camus. They argued that life itself is, inherently absurd. There's no ultimate pre-given meaning. Meaning is something we create, we build it ourselves.
So applying that to childbearing.
It means having kids isn't some necessary obligation. It's not a guaranteed path to absolute happiness either. It's a selective experience. It's a choice.
A choice we make in the face of this absurdity.
Kind of, yeah. For some people, having a child might feel like a way to push back against that absurdity, a way to give life weight, by creating new life.
Yeah.
Grounding yourself.
That makes sense.
But for others,
Choosing not to have children could be the response.
equally valid, yes. Choosing not to is also a form of freedom in the face of absurdity. Maybe a refusal of what feels like meaningless repetition or not wanting to bring a child into perceived suffering.
So the anxiety comes from the freedom itself.
That's the crucial existential point. Anxiety is an inevitable part of it because we are free to choose. If there was only one way, no choice. Probably less anxiety. It's the weight of possibility.
Wow. Okay, so if it is a choice, what kind of choice is it? This connects back to the feminist perspective, right?
Yeah.
That it's not destiny.
Exactly. Feminism reframes it. Childbearing isn't female destiny. It's one of many possible lifestyles a woman might choose.
And the sources call it a luxurious challenge.
Yeah, I like that framing. Think of it like a really high-intensity life quest.
Okay.
Something some people choose to take on, but ideally only when they feel safe enough, stable enough, have enough resources. It requires a certain level of, luxury in terms of security,
Contrasted with the other valid path.
which is not having children, where self-worth, contribution, meaning they're found elsewhere. Career, art, community, personal growth, loads of ways. Both paths are legitimate.
So to genuinely ease fertility anxiety, it's not about pushing women towards having kids.
Not at all. The real solutions, according to these perspectives, are much bigger.
Like what?
1, provide real social security, real support systems,
Yeah.
make it feasible, break down that cultural conditioning. Motherhood cannot be seen as the only significant role for women.
And 3.
Critically, ensure women can maintain their subjectivity, their dignity, their sense of self, whichever path they choose, with or without children.
Okay. So knowing all that, understanding the forces.
Hmm.
What if someone is considering this luxurious challenge? Are there practical insights from the sources about readiness?
Yes, for those leaning towards it, the sources do emphasize a kind of holistic readiness. It's about going in with your eyes open.
What does that involve? Let's start with the body stuff again.
Right. The sources reiterate high risk isn't just about age, it's much more about underlying health conditions.
So don't just fixate on the number.
Exactly. Yes, maybe 28-35 is often cited as ideal, biologically speaking, but the real takeaway is focusing on overall health habits and understanding that risks are probabilities, not certainties. You can't fully control it.
And mentally, emotionally, what's the preparation there?
Psychologically, the sources suggest having a child definitely adds weight, responsibility. It's described as an experiential challenge game.
A game.
Well, in the sense that it fosters immense patience, understanding. But the ideal motivation isn't some fantasy that a baby will fix your life.
It should come from curiosity, wanting the challenge.
Exactly. Curiosity, embracing the challenge, knowing it will be transformative and, frankly, demanding, not idealizing it.
And how does it mesh with career, daily life, given those pressures we talked about?
Yeah, life arrangement, career balance.
Yeah.
The sources are clear. Having kids doesn't mean work stops entirely, obviously, but it needs major planning.
Around childcare, obviously.
Huge planning around childcare and a realistic look at how it might impact personal freedom travel, spontaneous things, freelance flexibility maybe.
And readiness means?
Financial readiness,
Yeah.
psychological readiness. You need the resources, money, time, energy, mental space, especially if society isn't providing much backup.
You can't really do it in a vacuum. Support matters.
Hugely. Social and family support. The sources point to partners as ideally being primary planners, economic providers, and involving grandparents, community resources. It all helps lighten that load.
And finally, just acknowledging the risks.
Yes, reinforcing that it is a significant luxury choice. It demands extensive preparation time, energy, money, mental capacity. Understanding that upfront is crucial for making an informed choice.
So these are things to weigh, not a checklist you must pass.
Yeah.
It circles back to that informed personal choice.
Exactly. It's about being aware of the multifaceted nature of the decision.
Okay, so bringing this all together then. This deep dive really shows that female fertility anxiety isn't just some isolated personal feeling.
Not at all. It's a really complex reflection of these deep social structures clashing, interacting with our sense of individual freedom.
A symptom of bigger things.
A symptom of a much larger societal situation, yes.
And we got two really powerful insights, didn't we? Feminism saying, hey, this anxiety is societal, it's structural, it's not just you.
Right. You're not alone in feeling it, and it's not a personal failing.
And then existentialism adding that the anxiety itself, it's actually proof of our freedom.
It exists because you can choose. And those choices matter. They have weight.
Which is why both choices need respect.
Absolutely. If you choose to have children, the sources suggest, it's because you're willing to embrace that new, intense experience, that life quest.
With all its demands.
With all its demands. And if you choose not to have children, it's because you're choosing to protect your current freedom, your sense of self, other goals. Both are valid. Both deserve respect.
So the final thought for you, our listener, as you think about your own life, maybe the answer to that question, why are we stopping fertility, isn't simply because we don't want children.
Maybe something else.
Maybe it's more because we don't want to lose our freedom. It's definitely something to reflect on, isn't it? What does true freedom mean for you in the context of your life and the choices you make?